something that you have been doing all your life, and all of a sudden, here comes the Latino girl that is tiny and speaks with an accent and tells you that you're doing it wrong. The first pushback is like, I have done it like that all my life. Why should I change? My company's name is Infinity Growth. And I really truly believe that we come to Earth to learn. My name is Monica Hernandez. I have been in STEM, in engineering, for over 20 years. One of the things that I realized some years ago is that we are really good at the technical stuff. They get us a lot of, math and physics and chemistry, but we lack a lot of basic skills that are more humanly, more soft skills, and that makes our jobs more complicated than they should be. So that's when I changed from very technical to the leadership area. It was a little bit of a bump on the head on after the excitement of, yes, I'm going to be the lead for the office. But then I got like, oh my God, reality check. This is a lot like a lot of people talking, and a lot of skills that I didn't have at the moment. So I had to build those skills. And I really love the idea of having those skills developed. And then how, when you understand how communication works, everything in your life gets better. So not only at work, but then I started applying the strategies with my son. He was 5 at the moment, so a lot of negotiation skills. I got really good at that one. But also, how to pass on the message to the higher management. And then at that time, also, I decided, okay, I have enough tools, I have enough knowledge, I'm going to start my own consultancy firm. And I have applied everything that I've learned with me, with my team, with my clients. And one of the best things that comes out of all of this is that I'm living proof that it works. And if we apply those techniques and those tools, our lives becomes easier, not only on the technical side, which is absolutely, we need to have all those tools, but in everyday life. And then along the way, because I'm a female in a male-dominated world, I realized a lot of the things that like when I was pregnant, for example, I was the only female, so I was the only pregnant. So obviously nobody understood. So what I did is, what I normally do is, if things don't support what I want to do, I just create it. And so I created the Materials.Business podcast. And then I started giving a capsule for women. And I said, okay, I'm going to probably run this for a month or two, because there is not many women that I know that are in this area that want to come and talk. And it's been amazing how many people have reached out and say, hey, I have this colleague, you should interview her. And I know this super smart girl, you should go and talk to her. So I have done many more connections that I had before, just by the power of people empowering others. I have spoken with girls, South America, North America, Europe, Middle East. It's amazing how the power of connection works, and then how much people empower others. So that's a really good thing. This is what I would have loved to have when I was in my 20s. I would have loved to sit down and listen to a podcast from the only girl that has ever been the president of the Corrosion Association in North America. They can also say, okay, yes, if she can, I can. And that is that kind of motivation. My company's name is Infinity Growth. And I really truly believe that we come to Earth to learn. And there is no separation between Monica, the leader, the technical corrosion girl that stands out and speaks about corrosion, the mom, the friend. It's very, in my, like the old guys say, in my book, it has to be authentic. And authenticity starts by how you are with everything and anything. So it's holistic. Now, how can I bring that into engineering or corrosion? If you don't have that holistic approach, you're missing areas. So if you don't understand all of the areas that can potentially have damage into your equipment, then you will have disconnections. And that's why, technically speaking, if you have asset integrity and corrosion as different and you don't integrate them, that's how we have all those failures that happen. That's how we have 3 incidents or an incident every 3 days that involves corrosion around the globe, even today. So that shouldn't happen with all the technology, brilliant people, new materials, coatings, whatever. Like, we should do better. So what is that telling me? That we need better leadership, because the people that are taking decisions are not the people that understand exactly how those things interlock to each other and then the consequences of the decisions. So it's holistic, not only in my life, but in my practice as a leader and in anything. But you can only be that if you truly are that. So I studied in Colombia. I am originally from Colombia, and I studied metallurgical and materials engineering. Everything is made out of materials: the glass, the computers, your car, anything and everything. So in materials engineering, we studied materials. Metallurgy is the area that studies specifically metals and how they degrade. However, the most interesting part is, how can we do so they don't degrade, they don't produce incidents, they don't pollute the environment, they don't kill people, they don't get incidents. So we do all of that. I immigrated to Canada in 2005, and I could have at that time said, I want to do something different. I want to, become a nurse or whatever. And I decided to stick with it. So I presented the Engineer Association exams, and my degree was fully recognized. I just had to do the exams, 3 technical exams. We are so rare that nobody had ever done a metallurgical engineer in Quebec, in the Engineer Association of Quebec. So they created an exam just for me because there wasn't anyone prior to me that had that diploma. So I did 3 technical tests plus the ethics, and then the hours to go from junior to senior. And then I started working with operators, like Shell, for example. And I worked in asset integrity, which was pretty much what I was doing in Colombia. And then when I got to Shell, I said, okay, I will never gonna have to do a resume again. I'm gonna retire here. Because you see that, right? Like the legacies, the kid worked there, the dad worked there, the grandparents, like everyone in their families, Shell, ex-Shell or something. But then that wasn't the case because they decided to close the refinery. And then I moved to oil sands in Alberta. And it was pretty amazing because it was a complete different class of business and how we manage integrity. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to do some sort of not just integrity, but also I want to learn about design. So I went and worked for design companies. And it was very interesting because then I was in the other side of the fence. When we are in the operator, you're always complaining, oh, those design guys, they're always late. They don't give us that. But then when I was in designing, I learned that when you ask for something, they never tell you the whole story, right? So it's potable water, no problem. Yeah, but that potable water only runs for 8 hours and then it becomes contaminated and it's processed water and stuff like that. So and then I went, after my maternity leave, I went back to consultancy in asset integrity. About 5 years ago in 2019, I decided I have all the tools I needed and I wanted to open my own firm. But also I wanted to do what I have always been told no. I wanted to share knowledge, and I wanted to lead better, and I wanted to get equal pay regardless of sex or color or gender or anything. So I created my company and I started working on it, and it's been really nice, really good experience, lots of work. But I really appreciate how we are able to evolve and then adapt to the situations. And then about a year ago, we created the podcast as a means of sharing knowledge. Okay, so it's not only how can I get better for me, but also I always look up as of how can I bring people with me. Because if we are community, we are stronger than if it is just Monica with a flag at the top. So that's what we have been doing, and it's been really good. The conclusion is there's a lot of similarities, and we can enjoy from those connections. And how can you do better? And of course, that brings on the sustainability part. How can we be sustainable if we keep doing the same things that we did 40 years ago, 80 years ago? So it's bringing all those sections together, and that's where holistic comes again. So it's not really detached, but that's in a nutshell, Monica, on the technical side. I think a lot of the issues remain that the standards haven't caught up as fast as the world evolves. So we are still using standards that are quite old, um, materials that are approved by the standards that are old, and everything has, of course, a course of action. So it's not like I created a material and then all of a sudden I can go and apply it. It has to go through a process. So I guess the the one thing that hasn't moved as quickly as everything else is standardization. And we are humans, right? So if it is not mandated, we don't do it because it costs money. And if it costs money, well, I prefer just to operate. So, but all our leaders went to COP28 in Dubai and said, we're going to cut emissions and we're going to get to net zero and all those brilliant things. But how is that plan going to get implemented? That's another thing, right? Because Canadians are different. You know, we have polar bears and it's different. We are different. So let's do our own corrosion study. And we did it. And the cost of corrosion came exactly the same as everyone else. It's tremendous amount, like 53 billion US dollars that we used to patch, let's say, because it's not a complete solution, but that we lose in corrosion. That's not counting lives or environmental efforts or any like indirect costs or any of that. This is a topic that I always bring to every time that I'm speaking. And I said it before, we have brilliant people, a bunch of PhD. I have nothing with them. I respect them a lot. We have technologies that are amazing. We have materials that are incredible. But yet we don't have the ability to prevent all those incidents as they are still happening. Like I said, every 3 days in the world, one incident caused by corrosion still happens. And we are in 2024. So that's something that anyone should think about. Is like, if you put that into money, it's like the cost of corrosion is like $360 US dollar per person. So every child, women, men on earth should pay that to cover the cost of corrosion. That gives you the perspective, right? When there is people that live with less than $1 per day. When you have something that you have been doing all your life and all of a sudden here comes the Latino girl that is tiny and speaks with an accent and tells you that you're doing it wrong, the first pushback is like, I have done it like that all my life. Why should I change? Well, because I want the asset to be protected and to not fail on you because you won't be able to produce. So are we designing really and truly for that asset to live longer? Or are we designing to finish on time, on budget, and get my bonus, and then let the maintenance guys deal with that afterwards, because it's not going to be your problem. So it comes down to leadership. Who is the person taking the decisions, and do they really understand the risks? I have tangible examples. I have written papers. I have presented internationally and nationally. And it is no doubt that we could do better if we manage better. And when we manage better, we need to, again, start by managing ourselves to be able to manage our teams, to be able to. And so that's why I bring all the message of leading with love, which is not new. Like, it's been around for decades. And that is kind of why we want to do things different. We have spoken with people, like you said, I don't know, in thermal, in solar, uh, in biomaterials that go inside bodies. And then the message is the same. We need to design better, and we need to manage better. So every time that I take responsibility like that, I am acting not for Monica, but for all the girls in STEM, all the Latinos, all the girls, immigrants that come and then have to overcome all that, all the entrepreneurs that are girls that struggle to get a loan because they are female and they apparently don't know how to write things. It's like all those struggles, but when you are there, it's like, okay, I got this responsibility. It's not for me, it's for everyone that comes behind. One of the guys that reported to me in a previous job, he said to me one day, "You're like always running. Like I see you always running from meeting to meeting with your little book," because I always take notes in books. I'm old school. So, and I said, "What a horrible thing to be looked up for." It's like, I don't want to be that. I want to be the person, because if you're running, you're not in control. If you're running, you're not leading, you're not having your schedule on time. So that was like a wake up call. And he said it in the most beautiful and lovely way. He didn't meant bad, but to me, it was like, how people are perceiving you is not how you want people to perceive you. So yeah, I changed. At that time, I decided, okay, this is not going to be the way. So if people want practical advice, every person is different. That's why when in my coaching sessions, we never do the same thing with everyone. But the one thing that helped me a lot was to start doing self-care. And self-care means different. Today, I'm going to take a bubble bath. Tomorrow, I'm going to meditate 3 minutes. I meditate every day, but I'm going to do 30 extra minutes. I'm going to do a yoga session. I'm going to do a walk outside. I'm going to take an extra glass of water. I'm going to put lemon, ginger, whatever it is that works for you, because it's you. It won't look the same every day either. So be flexible. So I started on that side when I took the John Maxwell certification for leadership coaching and speaking. Coaching, I like a lot because I get to work one-on-one with people, but I don't get the reach that I get when I do speaking. So when I go into stage and I have 200, 300 people, then I have more impact, because then I'm able to transmit the message. So a lot of the times what happens is the people that hear me speaking, they'll call me out for coaching sessions privately, because they feel the connection, they want to know more about, but they want a more personalized experience. So that is how it's been evolved naturally. Where I want to be, I want to reach more people, so I want to do more of that, or those engagements. Perhaps I don't want to bring the coaching into all of my time, because it takes a lot of energy. When I do coaching, I really truly do it with them, and I dedicate my energy to the person. So it's not like uh, come and talk, and then I'll give you tips and you go home, and then I don't care about, like, I do the homework, and like I said, it's, so I don't want that to be the principal thing, but it's always a pleasure to go and help people in the road. What I want to make it focus perhaps is more into giving tools to technical people that, like me, were on a time very technical transition into leadership and they don't know how to do it. If they are girls, even better, because then we can explore more of that. But I have boys and girls, and gents and gals and all that in that come to me. So it's a real nice, and then we become very close as we go, and I'm always sending resources and things like that. So it's nice. What do I want my legacy to be? That I gave them all of my best self, even if it is on the coaching, speaking, or technical, or girls, or my family, anyone. And that they feel that I spend the time that they deserved with them. Like, and I always say that being present, it's very difficult. Being in the present is very important. So I would like for people to say, okay, she made me feel. That is what I want. I don't want for them to think. I want to feel. I want for them to feel that I gave them the importance they deserved, and then they grew just by that. In terms of the company, I really would like to explore more areas for Infinity, for materials business. I'm loving talking with people and getting all these connections and bringing leads and leaders and girls and boys and Spanish and English, and the algorithm doesn't like me and I don't care, because it is, it's all those things that I want to get there. Materials business is fully funded by Infinity Growth. And that is something that I pride myself of, because nobody else would have given me the time to do non-billable time to do a podcast and bring knowledge to whatever little piece of country. Because I come from a country that we didn't had a lot of opportunities, and we've seen it. Like, I brought the robotics winners in junior in the world. It's a team of kids from the poorest part of Colombia. And we spoke in the podcast with them because it's robotics, so it's STEM, and it's kids, sustainability. One day, I hope we are in those hands rather than in the hands of someone that is not paying attention to what is happening around. So that, I think, is what I want to go the next step. The website is the one place that we have put everything together. It has a repository of all the previous podcasts. We have it in YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But we also produce a weekly newsletter with all the links. So if you don't remember, then you can subscribe and get the link to it. Or on my LinkedIn, we have the LinkedIn for Infinity Growth. No, actually for Material Business and my personal